A friend of mine used to hold a gravity race called the Corn Goose Derby, and I built this car for it. The idea was to be odd and slow, figuring that slow is safe. So rather than having a round rear wheel, it has this sort of relio triangle. It's a shape of constant width. It's got, as you roll, the wheel stays the same height off the ground, and even though it's wobbly, the car rides perfectly smooth and he rides beautifully down the hill. The problem is something is wrong, and the wheel's supposed to ride on these rollers, but it's off center. I don't know why it's off center, but it's off center. So I'm going to try to fix that and figure out why it's off center and get this thing to roll again, because I want to race it again this fall. There's a different Soapbox Derby going on, and hopefully I can race it in that one. Yeah, I'll get into more how this works a little bit later, but right now just need to figure out what's going on with this rear assembly. Here we're looking straight down the back of the machine. You can see these rollers are floppy, so that is not helping things. And the wheel still goes pretty straight. There is damage to the outside of the wheel here, this rounded corner. That's not helping things, and same with here. So I might need, yeah, all the corners are messed up. They're all rounded off to the side. So I might need to make a new one of these. I might be able to fix this one also, which would certainly be easier than making a whole new one. So these are the rollers that the rear wheel rides on. And as you can see, they're all floppy, and they've got this big spot worn in them here. This happened when I was actually getting towed up the hill after the last race I went in. The wheel got set off to the side and just rubbed here, so there's no way you'd get this sort of wear under gravity power. It would, yeah, unless you're on a stupidly steep hill, which would be very scary. So anyways, I'm going to need to take this apart. When I made this, I did not make it to last. I needed to make spacers to hold these wheels roughly centered. And rather than make them out of something good, I just made them out of actually pieces of wood. So these are little wooden donuts. So they are not particularly strong. But they held up for a couple of races, so they kind of did their job. When I made this, I didn't know how far the travel would be of the point of the wheel, because it's not linear. Well, it's not fixed. It travels back and forth along these rollers as the wheel turns. So I was like, well, I need to do careful calculations for careful measurements before I take it all apart, so I can tell where I need to put the rollers again. But I've got perfect wear marks, so I know exactly how long that point will travel. So I'll want a little bit extra, but see, these wheels down here haven't even been touched at all by this system, and same with these two. So I'm gonna get this all taken apart the rest of the way, and we'll see how it goes. Here's a better shot of those little wooden spacers I put in there. So these things, but like I said, they're just wooden, so they will crack. So anyways, I'm going to take all those off, take off these wheels, make sure all the bearings are good. In my other shop, I made another wheel assembly. I don't have any good pictures or video of me making this because my 5-year-old helped me with it, and it's hard enough working in the shop with a 5-year-old, as well as filming at the same time would have just been too much. So I made a new one. Rather than the wooden spacers, I used aluminum spacers from tubing I got from McMaster Car, so those should hold up much nicer. I also added some plywood sections to the outside of the wheel to fix the rounded corners, and then I was able to bolt it back on and get ready to put on the new set of rollers. Getting the rollers properly positioned was a bit of a pain. There's no good way of holding anything, and it's all floppy and round and crookedy. So I was able to use some C-clamps and get it precariously balanced while I got the welder set to tack it in place. Breakover angle is not very good.
Whoa.
There, sit it while I put it.
Seems a lot smoother than it used to be.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that different. The same rollers. It's at speed. This swing arm just has too much. It's just too unbalanced. You want to drive it somewhere?
There you go. You can hear that.
Are you going to aim it at me while we go down?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. You go down. You need a push.
This car gets high centered really easily, so that's what's happening in this clip. That's why I can't go. But just to prove it works on grass.
Aligning.
Whoa.
Wow. There it goes.
So while I was working on my car, my son was helping out, but after a little while he got bored and just sort of disappeared. And I could hear him coming in out of the shop and doing stuff every now and then, so I knew he was okay. But I wasn't exactly sure what he was up to. It turned out he was in the dumpster behind my dad's shop. It was mostly empty, and he was making his own Soapbox Derby car.
Wow! Well, my Soapbox Derby car is not gonna go. This is my Soapbox Derby car, and I'm riding it on right now.
Whoa!
I didn't take too many pictures during the actual event because I was too busy kind of enjoying the actual event rather than taking pictures, but there's my car in the lineup of other vehicles. My car was the slowest, but also one of the most interesting there. Anyways, had a great time at the race. Now here are just a couple of quick clips of it working. The first is this year, and the second one is the first year I ran the car.
Hold on! Oh my god, it's so much better!